We know that we are import dependent.
Yeah.
And as much as possible, we've seen so much interventions being carried out in key sectors, particularly in agriculture, to make sure that we shore up our reserves, not to make us totally dependent on most of those countries where we have, like Guinea, for instance, bananas and Côte d'Ivoire cows and the rest of it. So that means that we should begin to take stock of what we have. How can we make sure that this situation presents us with a very wonderful opportunity to make sure that we're ready for anything, any pandemic, any plague that might likely come this way, because they haven't found the cure for this virus. There hasn't been a vaccine. So many things have come up. They're working on speculations. There's a drug right now they're talking about. But how quickly this drug is going to work, because you have to take it, wait for a period of time to make sure that it works before you carry on. But how can we make ourselves ready now and prepare ourselves for a situation where if we can't import anything, we're ready with whatever it is that we have to stave off probably a famine, or as the case may be.
Thank you very much. We do import a lot, but obviously not so much dependent on the West African economy. But the issue is that there is need. We have huge potentials in this country. But I think our short-term attitude to everything, to exporting, to development, is what is affecting us. Like you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of activities going on in the agri sector right now. We also had CBN start what they call NESRA, this shared risk in financing of agri value chain and the rest of them. But what you have noticed in all this is that one leg of the transaction is always missing. For example, the CBN urged every bank to have an agri finance department, but did not urge every bank to also have an export desk. Because if you ask Frije, he will tell you how much they are suffering because of their inability to secure finance from the sector, for the sector. This sector is where the nation is dependent on. The export that is more important to this country is the one that is being done by SMEs, because that's the one that you guarantee that the funds will come back, not the one that the foreigners are doing. So apart from the things that are going on in the agri sector, I think there's also need for us to strengthen the financial sector, because some of these things that have been they are adding value to can actually be sold locally, assuming that we find ourselves in a dangerous situation where we can no longer export or import what we need. So it takes, we need to sit back, look at the situation. Our Minister of Trade said in one of the papers that he does not think that there will be a lasting impact. That's only a speculation, because we don't know what happens next. So instead of thinking that it won't have a lasting impact, just like you said, we need to sit back to start planning. Should this go further, what will happen to us?
Okay. Mr. Oweyeka, let me start with you on this one. You're an agri exporter, and we know that as much as possible, the hospitality industry, hotels, for instance, restaurants, always buy fruits, to treat their guests with. Let's talk about the implication of all of this on the hospitality industry.
I think the first part of call is the fact that once movements are restricted, the hospitality industry gets hit directly. Because each person that comes to your environment is not coming to stay with you, is going to stay in a hotel. And then they don't even feed in the hotels now. Everybody is afraid. So we had visitors that came in 2 days ago from Niger. We took a hell breath to accept their visit to inspect our facilities. There is a lot of laws that will come up. Families are beginning to live by self-help. They stay in the houses, they don't even go to restaurants again. If you don't go to restaurants, who are these going to feed? The simple one is that the masses today who go to what they call the mama put, many of them have resorted to be eating bread and granules. So it's a big, big loss. In fact, we've had meetings with some some hotels and all that. Their feeling is that I think we better go and break. And the news of the WHO saying the thing can be used today has brought a new life to them thinking.
Going on break in a city like Lagos, what's the implication for the numbers, the naira and kobo that we count every day? Let's not just even talk about the higher up. Let's talk about the value chain, the rest of the people who contribute to ensure that the hotels run efficiently.
Yeah. Well, that is an area, you see, once one sector is affected, it throws out a multitude of linkages. You are talking about suppliers, you are talking about even workers, you are talking about taxes will be paid as and when due. So the hotels are going to make losses. In fact, it's going to be like, if this exercise stays on for too long, there will be a new strategy for people to come around. I recall very well that you recall that how soya came into this country. And I heard the president saying that he was a madman to have come to this country. Definitely, if he wasn't in the hospital, if this has happened in the hotel, it would have taken a longer time before they can identify that it was a problem. The Lagos State government have done so well to make sure this thing is kept in the mud. And that is why you still have no panic so much in Lagos. Outside this city, everybody is panicking. People are no longer moving. And once people don't move, the hospitality business will go and break. Do you know that transport environment has been told that anybody who is joining the transport will now be screened? What's the meaning of screening? Some people will postpone their evil day. We have to go to Ghana. We'll postpone our Ghana trip. Even when we bought flight tickets, we said, let's hold on for another 1 month. Their borders are closed. So that means that everything you touch as a movement is concerned, the hospitality business are the first people to be hit.
Mr. Madu, let's now talk about intra, within the country, state to state.
Yeah.
We know that we get food crops from every part of the state, coming from Kano, from Niger, from Benue to Lagos, from Lagos out. How has this been? What new strategy? Or is it the same thing as what has been experienced, as Mr. Wereka just also mentioned?
Yes, just to add to what he said, fruits are obviously perishing because people are not picking them up. The tourism industry is even beyond eating.
Yeah.
You want to check into a hotel, you start wondering whether an Ebola patient stayed in the room that you want to check into. That's enough to scare you off out of a hotel. So it's the multiplier effect of this is going to, you talked about the value chain. People supply meat, chicken, fruits, everything that is used in the hotel is supplied by people. It starts by reducing quantity.
And not everything comes from Lagos.
And not everything comes from Lagos. Then the issue of transportation, then of course, a bulk of this comes from the north. That's had huge implications. When you restrict movement, it means that those things cannot come in any longer. So I think going forward, just like he said, thumbs up for Lagos State government. They took a giant step right from the beginning. Federal government is also playing their part. Everybody is doing, I mean, look at the victims of the salt. And then, of course, the bitter cola is sold out everywhere. So it's nobody wants to die. But I think that there's been a lot of information available to people. So people now know what to do. But I think also that there's some high level of panic of what people should eat or what people should do. Like people resorting to bread and granite and all that and all that. I don't think it has gotten as bad as that. But the industry, the woman who is selling fruit on the road is suffering. The people she buys it from are suffering. Some of them are no longer coming as they should. So it's actually a hydra-headed problem. But
let's talk about the people who are also suffering because foreign investors are not coming into the country. Lately, a lot of such meetings have had to be cancelled.
Of course.
So we have another implication looming in the bigger industry and in the medium to the smaller one.
There's actually an oil service company that I know. They say they are shut down for 3 weeks, and all the expatriates are gone for 3 weeks. Of course, you know what that means to business in that organization. That is not to talk about meetings. People were supposed to visit Nigeria for investment. Our foreign direct investment obviously is going to be affected because some of the meetings that would have been held in the last 2 weeks or thereabout are on hold. Maybe if some of them were held by now, some action would have taken place and the transactions will be on. So it's and then exports beyond ECOWAS is also affected. It's also affected because once it is coming from a West African country, nobody cares whether it's Guinea, Sierra Leone, or Liberia. The fact is that we are within the region, not just within the region, we are also a huge suspect because we already have confirmed victims here. So it's a difficult situation, but I think those in authority need to work hard to see, because containment is the name of the game, so that in the next month or thereabouts, we should put this behind us, hopefully.